Why does moving on feel impossible when it comes to an avoidant ex? It's like trying to heal from an injury you can't see, but feel deeply every single day. And here's the crazy part. They make you feel like it's your fault. Like you cared too much, loved too deeply, or just weren't good enough to break through their walls. But what if I told you it's not about you at all? And more importantly, what if I told you healing is not only possible, but inevitable? As the great Sigmund Freud said, unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. And that's exactly what happens when you've been entangled with someone who runs from intimacy. It leaves you tangled in confusion, longing, and worst of all, self-blame. Avoidants are experts at making themselves unreachable. They pull away, shut down, and leave you questioning everything. And when they do, you're left chasing shadows, trying to piece together what went wrong. The truth? You didn't break them. You simply triggered their fear of closeness, something they were never ready to face. But here's the trap. The more you chase, the more they withdraw. It's a vicious cycle that leaves you emotionally drained and feeling like nothing you do will ever be enough. We accept the love we think we deserve, wrote Stephen Chbosky, and if you've been left feeling unworthy, it's because their avoidance has made you question your own value. What makes healing from an avoidant ex so difficult is the lack of closure. They vanish without explanation, leaving wounds open and festering. You replay every conversation, every interaction, trying to find the moment where you went wrong. The reality is, it was never about what you did, but about what they could not face. Now, here's where things change. Healing doesn't come from understanding them. It comes from understanding yourself. It comes from breaking free of the toxic cycle and reclaiming your power. As Carl Jung put it, I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. And this is your moment to choose healing over hurt. Moving on feels impossible because you're searching for answers from someone who was never ready to give them. And the more you focus on their actions, the further away you drift from your own healing. The true journey begins when you redirect your energy inward instead of outward. You need to realize that your worth was never determined by their ability to love you. Your value is not measured by their willingness to stay. It's time to break the habit of looking back and start rebuilding from within. This video is going to reveal the exact steps you need to finally let go and truly heal. By the end of this, you'll understand why moving on feels impossible right now and, more importantly, how to make the impossible possible. So, stick with me until the end, because this knowledge can change everything. And if you're ready to reclaim your power, hit that like button, subscribe and comment below. I choose to heal, because this is your moment to rise, and your healing starts right now. Healing from an avoidant ex starts with understanding their mindset. You see, avoidants aren't cold, cruel, or indifferent. They're simply wired to protect themselves from emotional intimacy, even when they crave it deep down. It's a paradox, but one rooted in fear. As Brené Brown wisely put it, we are wired for connection. It's in our biology. But the thing is, we need courage to actually allow ourselves to be seen. Avoidants lack that courage because being seen feels like a threat. To them, intimacy equals vulnerability, and vulnerability equals pain. Their coping mechanism? Distance and detachment. When things get too intense or when emotions run high, their instinct is to pull away. Not because they don't care, but because caring feels risky, And the saddest part? They often leave you feeling like you're the problem, when, in fact, it's their own unresolved fears driving their behavior. Understanding this doesn't mean excusing their actions. It means recognizing that you're not at fault for their inability to maintain emotional closeness. Their avoidance isn't about you. It's about their own inability to face discomfort. Here's where the real problem lies. The more you try to fix things, the more you feed their need for distance. When you chase, they run. When you question, they shut down. When you try to explain your feelings, they feel overwhelmed. And the cycle repeats itself until you're left feeling utterly defeated. The first step in healing is acknowledging this truth. You can't change their attachment style. No amount of love, patience, or understanding will transform someone who refuses to address their own emotional barriers. But you can change how you respond, how you choose to heal, and how you reclaim your power. Key point 2. Why moving on feels impossible. Moving on from an avoidant ex feels impossible because of the way they've conditioned you to chase. They create a dynamic where you constantly seek validation and reassurance, yet they withhold exactly what you crave the most. And here's the brutal truth. That inconsistency is designed to keep you hooked. Psychologist John Bowlby, the father of attachment theory, said, "The hunger for love is much more difficult to remove than the hunger for bread." When you've been involved with an avoidant ex, your emotional hunger becomes intensified by their hot and cold behavior. One moment, they're affectionate and present. The next, they're distant and unreachable. This emotional rollercoaster creates what psychologists call intermittent reinforcement. It's the same psychological tactic used by casinos to keep gamblers addicted. The occasional reward, those brief moments of affection or attention, tricks your mind into believing there's hope, even when reality proves otherwise. The worst part? You become addicted to the idea of fixing things. You replay conversations, analyze their words, and try to find a magic solution that will make them stay. But the truth is, they've already trained you to focus more on their behavior than on your own healing. And that's why moving on feels impossible. The lack of closure makes things even harder. Avoidants often leave relationships in a fog of ambiguity, avoiding direct conversations about why things ended or what went wrong. They may even reach out occasionally, dropping breadcrumbs of attention to see if you're still available, keeping you in a state of emotional limbo. You end up trapped in a vicious cycle, always waiting, always hoping, always giving your power away. But here's what you need to understand. Their avoidance isn't your responsibility to fix. Healing starts when you realize that their inability to show up fully is about them, not you. Moving on feels impossible because you're still trying to earn validation from someone who doesn't have the capacity to provide it. And until you break free from that need for validation, you'll remain stuck. It's time to take back your power and shift your focus inward. Instead of asking, "Why can't they love me the way I deserve?" ask yourself, "Why am I willing to accept less than I deserve?" Key point 3. Reclaiming your power. Healing from an avoidant ex starts with one essential truth. Reclaiming your power is the only way forward. The pain of loving someone who keeps you at a distance can leave you feeling powerless, broken, and questioning your own worth. But what if I told you the key to healing isn't about getting them back, but about getting yourself back? As Eleanor Roosevelt said, No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. For too long, you've been giving your power away, waiting for them to validate your emotions, hoping they'll finally acknowledge your worth, believing you need them to feel whole. But the truth is, the power has always been yours. You just forgot how to use it. The first step in reclaiming your power is accepting that their behavior is not a reflection of your value. Their avoidance, their withdrawal, their emotional unavailability, none of it defines you. It only defines their own struggles and limitations. You are not broken just because they couldn't see your worth. Secondly, you need to stop giving them the power to dictate your healing. Every time you replay their words, analyze their actions, or wait for them to come back, you're handing them control over your emotional state. Healing begins when you choose to redirect your focus from them to yourself. This process requires brutal honesty. You have to confront your own attachment to the fantasy of who you wanted them to be. Because here's the reality. You were never in love with their avoidance. You were in love with the potential of who they could be, if only they would change. But chasing potential only leaves you chasing ghosts. Instead of seeking validation from them, validate yourself. Remind yourself that your worth doesn't diminish just because they couldn't show up. When you truly embrace this mindset, something incredible happens. You break free. You release the hold they have over your emotions. You reclaim your peace. Reclaiming your power is not a one-time event. It's a continuous process. It means setting boundaries, focusing on your growth, and refusing to settle for emotional breadcrumbs. Most importantly, it means committing to your healing, even if that means letting go of someone you once loved deeply. Key point 4. Breaking the trauma bond. Moving on from an avoidant ex is hard, not just because of the emotional attachment, but because of something even deeper. A trauma bond. It's a powerful, addictive connection formed through repeated cycles of emotional highs and lows. And breaking free from this bond feels impossible because your brain has literally been trained to crave their inconsistent affection. As psychologist Patrick Carnes described, trauma bonds are the chains that link us to the very people who hurt us. These bonds aren't built on healthy love. They're built on anxiety, longing, and the constant struggle for validation. And that's what makes them so hard to break. When someone gives you attention and then abruptly withdraws, your brain interprets those rare moments of affection as rewards. It's like being parched in a desert and receiving just enough water to keep you alive, but never truly quench your thirst. This emotional starvation makes you believe that their occasional affection is precious, something worth fighting for. But here's the truth. Those crumbs of attention are not real love. They're merely traps designed to keep you hooked. And the longer you stay, the more you lose yourself in the process. Your self-worth becomes tied to their approval. You start believing that if you try hard enough, they'll finally see your value. The key to breaking the trauma bond is retraining your mind to recognize the difference between healthy love and emotional manipulation. You need to understand that the euphoric highs you feel when they briefly come back are not signs of love. They're symptoms of addiction. And the only way to break free is to starve that addiction by going no contact or minimizing your interactions as much as possible. Healing requires you to rebuild your self-esteem from the inside out. As author and motivational speaker Les Brown said, "You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great." Breaking the trauma bond won't happen overnight. It's a journey of consciously choosing yourself every single day. Key point 5. Rebuilding your identity without them. One of the most painful realizations after a relationship with an avoidant ex is how much of your identity became wrapped up in them. You didn't just lose a partner, you lost a version of yourself that revolved around trying to be enough for someone emotionally unavailable. Now, you're left asking, who am I without them? And that's a hard question to face, but it's also the most powerful one. Because the truth is, you were never meant to shrink yourself to fit into someone else's comfort zone. You were meant to grow, freely, boldly, and without fear. As Oprah Winfrey said, the greatest discovery of all time is that a person can change their future by merely changing their attitude. Avoidant partners often leave you feeling like you're too much, too emotional, too needy, too intense. But what if none of that was true? What if you were just giving love in its rawest, most honest form to someone who couldn't handle it? This is where your healing deepens. You start to reclaim your identity, not as someone who was too much, but as someone who deserves more. You begin to rediscover the passions you set aside, the hobbies you let fade, and the version of yourself you silenced in order to keep the peace. You stop walking on emotional eggshells and start walking in your truth. Rebuilding your identity means choosing yourself over and over, even when it feels uncomfortable. It means validating your own feelings instead of waiting for them to. It means becoming so grounded in your own self-worth that you no longer seek permission to be who you are. And the best part? The version of you that comes out on the other side of this pain is wiser, stronger, and more self-aware. You don't just move on, you evolve. And when that happens, you'll realize something profound. You didn't lose them. They lost you. Key point 6. Setting boundaries and maintaining no contact. Rebuilding your identity without them is powerful, but there's a critical step that often gets overlooked. Setting firm boundaries and maintaining no contact. This is where most people struggle. Why? Because the very thought of cutting off communication feels like losing the last thread of connection to someone you still care about. But here's the hard truth. Healing requires distance. As author Henry Cloud said, we change our behavior when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of changing. You've already felt the pain of being strung along by an avoidant ex. Now, it's time to choose the pain of growth over the pain of being trapped. No contact doesn't just mean refusing to respond to their messages or calls. It means completely withdrawing your emotional energy from them. Blocking them on social media, deleting old messages, and refusing to check up on their life are all parts of truly letting go. These actions aren't about being petty or angry. They're about reclaiming your mental and emotional peace. Setting boundaries also means establishing clear limits on how much of your mind and heart you're willing to give to someone who has repeatedly proven they can't offer you genuine connection. It's about refusing to tolerate inconsistency, emotional unavailability, and manipulation, no matter how much you once loved them. Here's something you need to remember. Boundaries are a form of self-respect. By enforcing them, you're telling yourself, I deserve better. And the moment you make that decision, you begin to create space for your own healing. You start attracting people who genuinely see and value you, instead of those who only offer temporary validation. But most importantly, maintaining no contact is about giving yourself the time and space you need to heal. It's about learning to be okay without their presence, finding fulfillment within yourself rather than in their inconsistent attention. It's about building a life so rich and meaningful that their absence no longer feels like a loss, but a necessary gain. Key point 7. Transforming pain into purpose. The final and most powerful stage of healing from an avoidant ex is this: turning your pain into purpose. Because after all the hurt, confusion, and emotional exhaustion, you have two choices. Let it break you, or let it build you. And the truth is, every heartbreak carries the seed of transformation, if you're willing to grow through it. As Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and renowned psychiatrist, once said, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. You couldn't change your ex. You couldn't make them show up, open up, or stay. But you can take this pain and let it fuel your growth, your passion, and your purpose. This is where real empowerment begins. You start to realize that the lessons your avoidant ex taught you, though painful, were exactly what you needed to evolve. You now know how to spot emotional unavailability. You know how to protect your energy. You know what you will and won't accept moving forward. And that wisdom, it's priceless. You can use it to build better relationships, help others heal, create something meaningful, or simply become the most grounded, self-aware version of yourself. Your story doesn't end with them. It begins with you. Maybe the relationship didn't work out, but it gave you something far greater than reconciliation, clarity, resilience, and a deeper relationship with yourself. You're no longer chasing someone to complete you. You're becoming whole on your own. Pain often feels like the end, but in truth, it's just a powerful beginning. You're not healing to be who you were before. You're healing to become someone even stronger. Someone who loves with intention, chooses with clarity, and walks away with dignity. Stepping into your power. You've made it this far, and that's not by accident. Healing from an avoidant ex is one of the hardest journeys you can take, but you're proving that you have the strength to keep moving forward. Everything you've been through, the confusion, the heartbreak, the endless questioning, it all led you here, to this moment of clarity. Maya Angelou once said, "You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated." And that's what healing is all about. It's not about forgetting the pain, but transforming it into something powerful. It's about reclaiming your identity, setting firm boundaries, and choosing your own happiness over someone else's emotional inconsistency. You deserve real love. Love that shows up. Love that stays. And most importantly, love that starts from within. Your ex was never the source of your worth. You were always whole. Their inability to see it doesn't make it any less true. Now it's time to rise above their emotional limitations, to break free from the trauma bond, to build a life so rich and fulfilling that their absence becomes irrelevant. You're not healing to win them back. You're healing to get yourself back. And that's the real victory. If this video resonated with you, don't leave without taking the next step. Hit that like button, subscribe, and comment below. I choose myself. Let this be your mantra, your declaration of independence from emotional chaos. You've got this, and I'm here to help you every step of the way. Remember, healing is a journey, not a destination. And your journey is just beginning. The final step in your journey of healing is embracing self-care and personal growth. After all the emotional turmoil and heartache, it's crucial to turn your focus inward, to nurture and rebuild yourself. Self-care isn't just about pampering. It's about taking deliberate actions to improve your well-being, both physically and mentally. Let's start with the basics. Prioritize your physical health. Regular exercise, a balanced diet, and adequate sleep are foundational to feeling good. When your body is nourished and rested, your mind follows suit. Engaging in physical activities like yoga, running, or even a simple walk in nature can be incredibly therapeutic. They not only boost your mood, but also help clear your mind. Next, let's talk about mental and emotional self-care. Journaling is a powerful tool. Writing down your thoughts and feelings can help you process the breakup and gain insights into your emotional state. Meditation and mindfulness practices can also be incredibly beneficial. They help you stay grounded in the present moment, reducing anxiety and stress. Another essential aspect of self-care is setting boundaries. This includes saying no to things that drain your energy and yes to activities and people that uplift you. Surround yourself with supportive friends and family who understand your journey and respect your need for space and healing. As you focus on self-care, also invest in personal growth. This is a golden opportunity to rediscover yourself. Pursue hobbies and interests that you may have neglected. Whether it's painting, reading, learning a new language, or cooking, engaging in activities that bring you joy can reignite your passion for life. Personal growth also involves setting new goals. Reflect on what you want to achieve, both personally and professionally. Break these goals down into manageable steps and celebrate your progress along the way. Remember, growth is a continuous process, not a destination. One of the most profound benefits of focusing on self-care and personal growth is the boost in self-esteem and confidence. As you invest time and energy into yourself, you begin to realize your worth and potential. You start to see yourself as whole and complete, independent of any relationship. In conclusion, self-care and personal growth are not just about moving on from a breakup. They are about moving forward in life. They empower you to become the best version of yourself, to live a life that is rich, fulfilling, and authentically yours. If this message resonates with you, take a moment to like this video, subscribe, and comment below. I choose self-care. Let this be your commitment to prioritizing your well-being and growth. You've got this. And remember, every step you take towards self-care and personal growth brings you closer to a happier, healthier, and more empowered you. Building emotional resilience is a crucial step in your journey of healing and self-discovery. Emotional resilience is the ability to adapt to stressful situations and bounce back from adversity. It's about developing inner strength and a positive mindset, even when faced with challenges. But how do you build emotional resilience? Let's explore some practical steps. First, cultivate a positive outlook. This doesn't mean ignoring the negative aspects of life, but rather acknowledging them and choosing to focus on the positive. Practice gratitude daily. Reflect on what you are thankful for, no matter how small. This simple habit can shift your perspective and improve your overall mood. Next, develop strong social connections. Surround yourself with people who uplift and support you. Share your feelings and experiences with trusted friends or family members. Sometimes, just talking about what you're going through can provide immense relief and new insights. Another key aspect is learning to manage stress effectively. Engage in activities that help you relax and unwind. This could be anything from reading a book, taking a bath, practicing yoga, or even listening to your favorite music. Find what works for you and make it a regular part of your routine. Mindfulness and meditation are also powerful tools for building resilience. These practices help you stay present and centered, reducing anxiety and enhancing your emotional well-being. Even just a few minutes a day can make a significant difference. Setting realistic goals and working towards them is another way to build resilience. Break down your goals into manageable steps and celebrate your progress. This not only keeps you motivated, but also boosts your confidence and sense of accomplishment. It's also important to be kind to yourself. Practice self-compassion and avoid self-criticism. Understand that it's okay to have setbacks and that healing is a process. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a friend. Lastly, learn from your experiences. Reflect on past challenges and how you overcame them. What strengths did you discover in yourself? What lessons did you learn? Use these insights to build a stronger foundation for the future. Building emotional resilience is not a one-time effort, but an ongoing journey. As you develop these skills, you'll find yourself better equipped to handle life's ups and downs, including moving on from an avoidant ex. Remember, resilience doesn't mean you won't experience pain or hardship. It means you have the strength to recover and grow from these experiences. If you found this advice helpful, please like this video, subscribe and comment below. I am resilient. This is your affirmation, your commitment to building a stronger, more resilient self. You have the power within you to overcome and thrive. You've got this. Keep moving forward, and remember, every step you take towards building emotional resilience brings you closer to a brighter, more empowered future. As we come to the end of this journey together, let's recap the key points we've discussed. Moving on can feel impossible, especially when dealing with unexpressed emotions and the avoidance tactics. We explored the vicious cycle of detachment and the lack of closure that often leaves us feeling stuck. But remember, reclaiming your power is within your reach. By redirecting your energy, rebuilding from within, and understanding the avoidant mindset, you can take control of your healing process. Recognizing you're not at fault and acknowledging the truth are crucial steps. Embracing self-care, personal growth, and building emotional resilience are the pillars that will support you through this journey. It's important to be patient with yourself and practice self-compassion. Healing is not a race. It's a deeply personal and gradual process. Allow yourself the time to grow, to learn, and to rediscover your strength. Every small step you take is a victory. Celebrate your progress, no matter how minor it may seem. You are resilient, you are powerful, and you have the ability to thrive beyond this experience. Keep moving forward, and remember that brighter days are ahead. You've got this. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below with "I am resilient" to affirm your commitment to this journey. Together, we can build a stronger, more empowered future.